Okay everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel today. We're back with a daily race C from the back of the grid, and we're driving a bit of an unusual car for this kind of race. So yeah, most people driving the power cars. I decided to take the Z4 for this one, the BMW Z4, probably the weakest car you could drive at this combination from the back of the grid. We did it for a bit of fun, and yeah, let's see how this goes. We're starting from P18. Let's see if we can gain any positions. The aim for the start of this race when I went into it was to try and get a top 10, to be brutally honest, because the Z4 is very underpowered in the Group 3 class on Gran Turismo Sport. For some reason, they've never ever BOP'd this car. It is a shame, because this is actually a really reasonably nice car to drive. It just needs maybe either 1% power, light weight taken off it, or 1% extra power or something, just to see how it would perform with that. It'd probably still be quite weak, but at least it'd be a bit more drivable. So starting the race from P18, we're going into the first corners, just trying to make sure we do not miss the braking zones, braking nice and early. I'd done no laps warm up with this. This was our first lap driving this car, obviously to try and get used to it. So first 4 or 5 laps trying to get used to how the Z4 is going to drive, where to brake with it. So you can obviously brake a little bit later with this car because you are going that much slower into the braking zone. So working our way up the hill into the first major braking zone. Going to be quite cautious because, like I say, we don't really know how this car is going to behave around this track, and you can already see just how slow this car is on the straights. Look at how much time we lost that group up ahead. However, look at all them cars battling there. They're going 2 wide, 3 wide, and this is going to cost them a lot of time, and we're going to have to just sit behind these because it's not really an overtaking position here. So decided to back out of that one, backed out the throttle, and just trying to follow them through now, getting the slipstream. And at the top of the hill, the Z4 actually pretty nice through here, because obviously this is all the handling section. Once you get used to the Z4's handling, it's a reasonably predictable car to drive. But we need to try and stay in the slipstream to the Jag in front of us, and then obviously to the cars in front of them as well. And yeah, utilize the slipstream. That is one thing you have to do with the Z4, is try to be in that slipstream as much as possible on the straights, because if you're not, you're going to lose out massively. We've got a bit of a gap to the car behind, but he's nearly in the slipstream. So out the final corner before this back straight here, you can see that is an important corner because you need to stay in the slipstream. You can see straight away they're just pulling away in front of us. Even though we're in the slipstream, they are pulling away from us. Luckily, we have the car behind us that's not in the slipstream, so we're not going to have to go defensive into the braking zone. You can see there's an almost 2 wide situation there, almost 3 wide with the third car getting involved. But I'm just going to brake like normal. We're not close enough here, and then just being a bit cautious through it because there's a car off the track, dust going everywhere. And then yeah, we're going to go to the right hand side, we're going to go to the left hand side, see if we can go for a move down left. Now we actually braked reasonably normal there, but the car in front braked very early. We did give him a little bit of a tap there, and it caused a bit of chaos. So yeah, apologies to them drivers, probably my fault that, but it did brake a little bit early, but like I say, probably my fault. But we managed to gain a position there as another car obviously backed out of it on the right hand side. I think the other Jaguar backed out of the corner and just let them go flying through. So now we have another car there, obviously been off, probably on the curb on the right hand side, has probably spun on the right hand side and lost control of the car as you come out of that turn 1. Very common mistake to make, but look how close that car is behind us there. When we've got no slipstream in the Z4, you really do struggle with straight line speed. But like I say, through this section, the Z4, you can't really overtake here at this section anyway. So yeah, just trying to keep it nice and smooth. The Z4 is good on throttle. One other thing about the Z4 is it's pretty okay on tyre wear. It's one of the better cars, I would say, on tyre wear. Probably because it's basically got no pace, so you're not really using up the tyres as much. But we're catching up to P13 here, so if we can try and get into the slipstream of the car in front of us before the back straight, that'll massively help out with the Z4's pace down that straight, and might be able to give us the opportunity to defend against the car behind. So going through here nice and smooth, trying to get the car over that little bit of grass and then on the throttle as early as possible. And you can see we've actually just crept into the slipstream, which is important because that is, I think that is the Aston Martin Vantage in front of us, which is one of the fastest accelerating cars on the game. So yeah, we just about creep into the slipstream. That gives us the ability to make sure that we won't get overtaken now from the car behind. And also, we're not going to send that up the inside there, a little bit too far back to send one up the inside there, and we're just going to sit behind this driver in the Vantage. So going into the final corner again, we're not got the acceleration to go through a move here, so we're going to brake just pretty much in between the 150, and that is the thing with this Z4. You can actually brake quite a bit later because the car's it feels very light to drive on the braking zone, so you can brake quite aggressively with this car. Again there, you can see just before the 150 board actually there, almost on the brakes, and then powering out of the corner, working our way up the hill. Now we've got a really awkward situation because we've got a car on the left, a car on the right, and we've got the slipstream to the Aston Martin. What is going to happen here? So is the Aston Martin going to send it up the inside? I don't know if he is. He actually backs out of that one, and we just stick to the left hand side. We're not going to try and go for a move there because it would have probably ended in disaster anyway. So yeah, just utilising the slipstream at the moment, because like I say, the Z4 doesn't give you much overtaking opportunities when you're in the straights. What you need to do is just stay with them, wait for a mistake, and maybe get them in a braking zone somewhere. But look at the amount of cars up ahead of us. We've got a long line of cars, an absolute train of cars. I think it's from almost P7 or 6 there. Very close racing going on here at Bathurst. And again, Aston Martin makes a little bit of a mistake there, and we utilise that, take advantage of that mistake, and get the car up the inside, and a nice little pass there. And now we've got to try and do a very smooth downhill section here. This is really important because you want to get back into the slipstream with the Corvette in front of us. So really nice through there, and the Corvette a little bit scruffy. We're getting the slipstream, we look behind, and there's absolute chaos kicking off behind us there. Cars getting pushed into the wall. So that is good for us, because now that's going to mean no car in my slipstream. And we both skimmed the wall there, but the Corvette maybe a little bit more so than myself. So we've got the slipstream, but that Corvette is going to be an almost impossible car to get past on pure acceleration. So we've got the slipstream, we pull out of the slipstream, and again you can see, look at the Corvette just start pulling away. That is the problem with the Z4. It doesn't have much grunt down the straights, but we're going to still go for a move. We're going to brake a little bit later, because again, we can brake later in the Z4, and we just squeeze it up on the inside. We give him the space on the right hand side just so that he can take the corner, and we pull off a very nice move there. But we're going to go for the early stop. We're going to pit lap 3 and do the 6 laps on the softer tyre. And as we go into the pit lanes, Corvette in front of us completely out of control, and we've seen many cars doing that this week, along with myself doing it a few times. So very easy mistake to make. But out of the pits, onto the soft tyres now, and let's see what we can do on the soft tyre. We've got a nice bit of clean air here. So yeah, no one in front of us on the outlap, so we're going to skip ahead to the end of the outlap. You can see still no one in front of us, just total clear air, and we're coming to the end of the first lap on the softer tyres. So let's see what happens when a few cars are going to go in the pits now, because obviously some cars will be pitting off the mediums on lap 4. Some cars are starting on soft tyres, so they're going to be pitting. Some cars are going to be coming out now on softs and mediums. It's going to be a bit of a mix-up situation. So we go over the line through turn 1. Where are we going to be by the time we get onto this straight? You can see we're up to P9, and we have now up to P10 as a Nissan GTR comes flying out the pits there, almost drives all the way onto the grass. And this is a drag race that we're never going to win in the Z4. Just watch. That Nissan, even though we come out the corner so much faster, that Nissan GTR is just going to out-accelerate the Z4 with no problems at all. However, coming through, I'm not sure if he lost the rear a bit on the curb. You see, he loses the rear a bit, has to catch it, and we're there to take that position and put ourselves up to P9. So bit of a lucky break there. He got on the curb. You could see his rear, the right rear and the right front tyre just skimmed the curb. He got the power, rotated the car, and then I saw that happening, so I stayed to the left, and we take that position and move ourselves up into P9. So now we've got to try and see if we can catch up to the drivers ahead, and we've already done the goal for this race with the Z4, because like I say, Z4, weakest car at this track. I don't think there's a weaker car you can use really, because for example the McLaren GTR is actually reasonably okay here because of its top speed. I think there's probably a few other cars that will, that you wouldn't normally use. Maybe like the Ferrari will be difficult to use, because like we did actually try the Ferrari, very bad on tyres, but I think if you got used to the Ferrari and learned how to drive it, it could be competitive. The Z4 just doesn't have the straight line speed. That's the problem with this car. So working our way down the hill, we got no one in front of us again. They're just fast forwarding the straight section there as we work our way to complete another lap, and we've got a few more cars going in the pits. Obviously some people that are doing 5 laps on the softs and maybe doing longer stint on the mediums, so they've got a shorter stint on the softs, or vice versa. And again, this is going to be interesting where this puts us up to. It's saying P5, but we're not going to be there. We're probably going to be about P8 or 7 as we come out of turn 1, because there's going to be cars that come out of that pit lane, and there they are in front of us, and we're up to P7. So looking quite good so far in this race. So now working our way up the hill, and again, this is the problem. We're going to have a lack of speed up the straight, so we're not going to be able to get anywhere near the slipstream of P6 or 5. And you can see P4 and 5 not too far in the distance there. P6 just in front of us there, and working our way through here. However, I think that P6 was actually on the medium tyres now. I'm pretty sure that he was on the medium tyres, because you're going to see through the corners we were gaining very, very fast. So as we fast forward the action, you can see up this section, we're actually gaining on P6 a little bit in the Supra there. So it's probably that car was on the medium tyres, because we were able to brake a lot later and looked like we were able to carry a lot more speed. However, now we've got the slipstream to that Supra. Again, the Supra, a pretty fast car down the straight, but it's not one of the fastest. So let's see how the Z4 compares to the Supra in terms of straight line speed. We've got a nice slipstream here, working our way down the straight. And we're going to go for a move. We should be able to get our car up the inside before we get to the corner. So we get the inside line for this corner, and we can brake later, obviously, on this side. He brakes quite late, gives us a little nudge there, knocks us a little bit wide, a little bit aggressive, but I think that was all fair. And now we're going to follow in the slipstream and try and see if we can go for a move maybe at the top of the hill. So we're going to have to get aggressive with the overtakes for the Z4, because you can see we just don't have much straight line speed. So we're going to have to give some aggressive approach to some of these overtakes and see if we can go for a move somewhere. So into turn 1, braking down to second gear and working our way up the hill. Now he goes a little bit looser. That's going to compromise his speed up the straight. So we're going to gradually just get our car into the slipstream, working our way up now. And can we go for a move at the top hill? We are gaining in this slipstream. You can see just a tenth behind him now, less than a tenth by the time we go into the top here. We're under a tenth behind. We're going to send it up the inside, braking late, and he turns in. I think we had the inside, and I think that was a fair move. We had the inside, and yeah, I think he just turned in, not expecting me to be there. But yeah, we're going for these moves. We're in the Z4. We're going to try and get as many moves as we can, and both of us carry on there. We can see the Supra still behind us, and we're going to see if we can get a top 5 with the Z4. This will be an incredibly good result, because like I say, no one will be using the Z4 unless you're just doing something for fun, because the Z4 is the weakest car of this combination. It would be a great result from P18 on the grid to get into the top 5. We've got 2.5 laps to go in this race, and we can see P4. So let's see if we can do anything about these drivers. It's going to be a lot harder to catch these drivers in front of us now, because obviously they're going to be on fresher tyres and also faster cars. You can see the car in front is a Corvette, which in my personal opinion is the best car for this combination. The Supra can be very good if you learn how to use it, but for me the Corvette's easier, more predictable car to drive, especially with the tyre wear factor for this race. So working our way down the straight again, fast forward in that action, as we've got obviously no one in front of us that we're actually in a slipstream of, and we're just trying to get as close as possible as we come to the end of lap 7. And I think that's pretty much everyone done their pit stops now, so we're up into P6, and P6 would be a great result, but we want to try and get another position. You see running all the way on the outside of the track, they're using some of the grasses. We're trying to really get ourselves a top 5 position with the Z4, which would be a great result from the back of the grid. So again, through turn 1, trying to get a good exit, working our way up the hill, and again the problem, we're just going to lose time all the way up this hill. You can see losing half, almost 3-4 tenths just on acceleration up this hill. So that's the difference between the Corvette and the Z4. The Corvette's so much stronger on the power. As we work our way through this corner, trying to get as close as we can to apex, using the full width of the track, almost skimming the wall there, as we're trying to take advantage of every little bit of space that we can to get as much speed out of the Z4. Through here, down second gear, early on the throttle there, very early on the throttle, early upshift into third there, and then powering our way up here and just being a little lift off the throttle, but not as much as what you do normally. As we hit the wall there frustratingly, we glanced into the wall, however didn't lose me a massive amount of time. We managed to keep the momentum, and we can see that P5 also made a little bit of a mistake, and we've actually got the slipstream now to the Corvette, which is vital. If we need to go for a move, we need to get in that slipstream and see if we can go for a move somewhere. So will we be able to go for a move going down this main straight? It may be a little bit too far back here. You can see we're about 7 tenths behind, actually losing the slipstream there, trying to get the car into the apex. The tyres are starting to fade a little bit now, but they are very balanced with the tyre end. And this is another thing that I'll say with the Z4. It's one of the positive things about the car is the tyre wear is very balanced between the front and the rear, hence why the car drives very smoothly still with the worn tyres. So we've still got the slipstream to that Corvette, but we're not going to be in a position to go for a move. You can see as we go through there on the replay camera, we're just a bit too far back to send one on the inside there, but we do get very close in the braking again. Like I say, Z4 really strong on the brakes, and we almost drift the way through that corner, losing a bit of time on acceleration. But again, just trying to stay with this Corvette. We need to stay in the slipstream for the main straight after turn 1 so that we can benefit from that extra bit of power that the slipstream will give us. So again, trying to be smooth, try and get a smooth exit from turn 1 onto the power as early as we can, taking an early apex so that we can get onto the throttle as early as possible. And again, we just managed to stay in the slipstream there, you can see, as we work our way up the hill. And this is important, stay in the slipstream here, then close in on the middle sector, and then see if we can go for a move at the end of the lap. But yeah, I have to say this was really enjoyable. I was actually enjoying driving this Z4. It's not the best car obviously, but the challenge of it to try and overtake some of these cars with a slower car was really enjoyable as we work our way up the hill again, still in that slipstream. All this section is going to be helped with the slipstream because, like I say, Z4 on uphill section is going to lose a lot compared to that Corvette. So we're just trying to stay as close as we can. Try not to make the mistake of hitting the wall this time, and we do that much better there, using the full width of the track, and actually very nice through there. And again, try and get to the apex there, very nice through there, skimming the wall, and then into this apex nice and early. And again, we do that reasonably well. The tyres are wearing out, but we're managing to stay very close to the Corvette now. And we've also got P4, who is very close to P5. Now, the one thing we don't want to happen is that the Corvette gets a slipstream from P4, because that would be a nightmare and an impossible situation for us to overtake. However, he goes a little bit wide there. We try and get on the throttle nice and early, and we've actually got a really nice run. It looks like he almost skimmed the wall, or actually might have clipped the wall on the outside there. So we've got a nice run on the Corvette now, but the problem again is as soon as we break out of the slipstream, will we have enough power to get the move done? As you can see, we've got the slipstream, we're going to go to the right hand side of the track. We've just got enough of the car up the inside there to give ourselves the space for that corner, and we're going to try and brake late, which we do again. Braking late, he gives us the space on the inside, doesn't push us wide, we give him the space, and that's a nice overtake to put ourselves up to P5. And he gives us a little flash there, I think, to say good racing. And then into the final corner, he has a little look up the inside there, but again, the Z4 is able to brake so late, and that is a really nice way to end the race. P5 with the Z4 from P18, 13 places gained. I was really happy with that, especially because obviously you're in the weakest car that you can use for Group 3. So really fun race, great week of racing at Bathurst this week. We've got another race that we will be uploading as well, but in that one we'll be driving the Corvette. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, please make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification button so you don't miss any future videos. Thanks again for watching, everyone. Bye.